Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Topsy here. Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are fine. I would first of all like to say thank you for all the love on my last video. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all the views. I appreciate all my new subscribers. I appreciate all my day ones. Thank you guys for the love. It looks like you guys do like lip swatch videos, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Trust me, it means a lot to see when you put a lot into a video or you record a video and you see, great feedback. So thank you. It does keep me going. So I thank you. So the video for today is going to be, it's not going to be a makeup video to start with. As you can tell from the title of the video, it's going to be talking about pregnancy losses and something that I've experienced. So I feel like I would want to inspire other women who, or even couples who might be, going through something similar. Yeah. So this video might be a long one, so I would advise you to get a drink and a snack and come on right back. My experience with this started just over 3 years ago, 2013. I'd already had 2 boys. I think my son at the time was 7, and my second son was 5. So I always knew I wanted 3 kids. I always knew, from when I was a child, I always knew that I wanted a little girl. I always was so attracted to the pinks and the, dresses, all the cute things that, we girls like, just being a girly girl. It was something that I always looked forward to, to having my own little girl that I can play with in my mind. Back then when I was young, it was almost like she was going to be like my little doll. But obviously, once I grew up and I started having kids, I know they're not little dolls. But obviously, I still, as a woman, you still, well, I wouldn't say as a woman, not all women want girls, but for me, I always knew that I wanted a girl. So it was always something that I was praying and hoping that would happen for me. So yeah, back in 2013, my husband and I decided to complete our family. Yeah, we decided to complete our family. And we decided, okay, let's complete the family, let's have another one. And I was fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed. I was praying, yes, this is going to be a girl. I can feel it. I guess for someone who's already had kids, you take things for granted. I think for me, I just automatically assumed that you get pregnant, you have a baby, and that's it. But it didn't quite work out that way. When I found out I was pregnant, that was in September 2013. I didn't even wait the 12-week mark. I just sort of told all my friends, told all my colleagues at work, told extended family, close-knit family, pretty much told everyone I was pregnant because I was so excited. But things didn't quite go according to plan. I think around the 5-week mark, I started to, actually, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I am not I don't work in a medical field. So whatever I talk about is just from my own experiences. It's not giving advice as to what anybody should do if, they find themselves in that situation. It's just basically telling you what I did and what my experiences were. Yeah, so just putting that out there. So as I was saying, yeah, I started to spot a bit, and it was different for me. Some people do say spotting and sometimes can be normal in pregnancy, but for me, that wasn't my norm. I couldn't remember spotting with my boys. So yeah, that just seemed weird to me, seemed off. I wasn't in any pain. However, I just thought I better get it checked out. So I went to somewhere called the early pregnancy unit in my local hospital, and they did some blood tests just to check what my HCG levels were. And for people who don't know, that's your pregnancy hormone levels. So obviously the higher the number is, the better. The higher your progesterone is, the better. Things like that. So they wanted to check, and every, I believe it's every 48 hours or every 72 hours. So if I take a test today, say for example today is Monday, 2 days after on Wednesday, ideally they would like your HCG level to have doubled. So for example, if your HCG level was 100 on a Monday, they would like it to be, say, 200 by Wednesday, so something like that. So I went in for that test, and 2 days after I went for another one, and mine wasn't quite doubling. It was increasing, but it wasn't doubling. It was just going up, sort of maybe by like 20% instead of 100%, which was a worry for the doctors. So they asked me to come back for a scan, which I, in my head, just thought, nothing is going to go wrong. Everything will be fine. It's just a routine scan. It's just going to tell me that the baby is fine, everything is fine. So I went by myself. My husband wasn't with me. So I got to the hospital, did the scan, only for them to tell me that the baby wasn't in the uterus. And I was like, sorry, what? I was confused at this point, because although I have heard of ectopic pregnancies, when you hear of things and you just never expect it to happen to you. You read about it, you hear people talking about it, but you never think in your wildest dream that will be your reality. At that point in time, while that doctor was talking, it was almost like my mind just went blank, because I didn't hear anything he was saying. He was telling me that the baby wasn't in the uterus, the womb. It was in my fallopian tube, and there is no chance that the baby was going to survive. I just went numb. I just went sort of blank. And I said, well, what did I do? How did that happen? I couldn't even show any emotions because I was confused. Anyway, to cut the long story short, they proceeded to tell me that based on the measurements of the scan of the fetus, I think there's a medication they use. I believe the name is methyl. I can't even pronounce it. I'll put the name somewhere in this video. They could not use that medication on me because they couldn't be 100% sure that the medication was going to work, because when they did the measurements, the baby was measuring quite big for the medication to take the proper effect. So they advised me that the only option that they would suggest was to have surgery, which is pretty much like a keyhole surgery. I think they call it a laparoscopy, something like that. So before I could even say, okay, yeah, they've already put all the forms in front of me, I've signed, and I was basically whisked off to surgery, because the surgeon said that, the doctor said, we didn't have time to wait around, and they couldn't tell me to go home and come back. It was too dangerous. It was pretty much, you have to go to surgery now. It's an emergency. You need to get it sorted. So off I actually called my husband and told him to come over to the hospital, and off I went to have my surgery. And when I woke up, I was told that they could not save my right fallopian tube. I don't know exactly what happened, but it was too damaged for them to save, so they had to remove it. So here I was, pregnant initially. You go to hospital just for a routine scan to be told that your baby is stuck in your fallopian tube, to be whisked up to surgery, and then you end up losing your fallopian tube, or one of your fallopian tube. So you can imagine I was distraught. in my mind I thought, okay, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I can't have kids any longer? And the doctor sort of said, no, that's not the case, that, things might take a bit longer as in terms to conceive, but it doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you can't have kids. So I was down, as you can imagine, upset. The operation, although it was keyhole, it was still painful. I still definitely felt sore. So I went home. I went to sort of get better, physically and emotionally, because you can imagine you're no longer pregnant, but your body hasn't caught up yet. There's still hormones, pregnancy hormones. You're still feeling nausea, you're still feeling sick, you're still feeling all the symptoms you get with pregnancy. I was still feeling it. And then on top of that, there is no baby. So it was a lot emotionally to deal with. But thank God, with the help of my husband and my family, I did get through it. I took some time off, probably about a couple of weeks, just to, get myself together before I went back to work. Went back to work and just sort of resumed life as normal. And I said to my husband that ready. I mean, the doctor did say, wait, I think it was like 2 cycles or something, to try again. So I guess all this happened in September. So by January, I was like, let's try again. Let's go for it. My husband wasn't so sold on the idea, because obviously he wanted to make sure that I was okay, emotionally. And I never for once thought I wasn't going to try again. I did think it was going to take longer, just because obviously I only had one fallopian tube. But I think it was in December, actually, we started trying. And then I think end of December, early January, I found out I was pregnant again. So you can imagine how excited I was. Yes, it's, happened so fast, like only 3 months after the surgery, especially with one fallopian tube. So I was like so happy. I was elated. I was ecstatic. I was happy. I was overjoyed. All the emotions that you could imagine I was going, that you could go through. I was just happy that, first of all, that I could get pregnant again, and second of all, that it happened so soon. So I don't know if I was to say I was apprehensive. Maybe I was, looking back now. But not in my wildest dream did I ever think that anything bad was going to happen. So anyway, I think it was around 9 weeks. Well, I think I was about 9 weeks pregnant when I started spotting again. And I was like, oh, not again. As in, surely thunder can't strike twice, can it? I just kept thinking, no, this just can't be. So I went to the hospital again. I got my HCG level checked, and this time it was doubling like normal, like it should. I went back 2 days after to check again, and everything was fine. Everything was doubling like it should, and everything looked promising. So I booked my I think because of my history, they wanted to do an early scan, earlier than normal, because I think women with no issues with their pregnancy normally get a dating scan at 12 weeks, I believe. But I was given a scan date for 10 weeks. So I went, a bit nervous, but hoping for the best. And yeah, on the day of the scan, I got on the bed, the wand was put on my belly, and the lady was quiet. So like, okay, maybe she's just, looking for the fetus. And then she said, oh, I can see the baby. The baby's in the womb. So I smiled. I was happy. Like, oh, well, that's good. Because what I forgot to tell you was that once you've had one ectopic pregnancy, they do say that you have a higher risk of having another one. So obviously I had that at the back of my mind that there is that possibility. But I kept being positive and going, no, it's all going to be okay. So when she said the baby was in the womb, I was happy. And then she's proceeded to do the measurements. And that's when she goes, according to the last day of my period, I was supposed to be, I believe, 10 weeks pregnant. But then when she did the measurement, the fetus was only measuring 8 weeks, which means that the fetus was measuring 2 weeks behind what it should be. So that sort of troubled me, because I never had that with my previous pregnancies either, with my boys. They were always measuring right on time. So I was happy that the baby was in the womb, but at the same time I was a bit worried about the fact that the baby was measuring behind on what it should be. So I went home, they sort of explained to me that sometimes, they do catch up. So, sometimes babies grow slowly to start with and eventually they would catch up. So I should come back in a week's time when I'll be 11 weeks so they can just keep an eye on it. So I went home. That 1 week probably felt like the longest 1 week of my life, but I went back for my second scan at 11 weeks. And unfortunately, when they, checked, there was no heartbeat. So it looked like between when I had the scan the week before and that week, baby had passed. So you can imagine the devastation. In my head, I was thinking, as in I had no words. As in I was confused. I was down, and you can imagine, we're talking about in the space of 5 months, I had basically lost 2 babies. It was just the grief and the anger, just different emotions. Angry because I didn't know what I had done. Angry at myself in a way because I felt like I had done something wrong. Why the baby couldn't survive. I just couldn't understand it. So it was a lot. It was a lot. A lot of emotions, a lot of tears, a lot of, just angry, depressed. Yeah, I went through everything. So I went home and I had to obviously get that managed surgically, that was hard. That was a hard week. Well, hard months after that, to be honest. Yeah, I sort of sunk into this depression that I didn't even know. Months were going by, days and months were going by, and I was just stuck in, I don't know where I was stuck, but all I know is I was just existing. It was hard. It was very hard because I just could not understand what went wrong. I couldn't understand how it all went wrong. I just didn't get it. Bearing in mind, this is someone, when you've had kids, I think for some certain extent you take things for granted. because you've had because I've had 2 successful pregnancies, I automatically thought it was my right to just have kids and just be pregnant and just deliver a baby and everything will be okay. You just make that assumption in your head, which is the wrong assumption to make, because these things do happen. They do happen to anyone, regardless of if you've had kids before, regardless of if you haven't had kids before. They do happen. The statistics actually do say that I think it's 1 in 4 pregnancies ends in miscarriages. So we're talking about a good 25%, and that's a lot. So these things do happen. But anyway, so obviously I was really down for a long time. And then I think it was like 3 or 4 months after that, I said to my husband, I'm ready to try again. Let's go again. He at that point thought I was going crazy. He thought, surely this should be when you should go. No, actually, nah, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going through this. But I wasn't gonna give up, because in my head I had this goal in mind: A, to complete my family, to have the 3 kids that I've always wanted, and 2, to still keep that hope alive that I would get a girl at the end of all this craziness that I've just been through. Even if it was a boy, at this point it didn't even matter. I just wanted a healthy baby. So I managed to persuade my husband to let us try again. So we did, and I found out in August that I was pregnant again. So yeah, that was, at that point I don't even know what emotions I was going through. I was happy and I was scared to death all at the same time. I would smile and then I'll cry all in 1 second. It was just scary. It was the scariest thing. It was like you looking at the pregnancy stick and I'm crying and laughing all at once, because I didn't know what emotions I didn't know, I was confused, because I was obviously scared to death, and at the same time I was happy, and I was like, how does one get pregnant 3 times in a year with 1 fallopian tube? That just blew my mind, but it happened. And so I don't, talk for too long. I don't want to make this video too long, but I booked for an early scan. Everything was fine. Baby was healthy. Baby was doing well. I was overjoyed. I was over the moon. I was so happy. I was so happy. I used to cry every day just from being happy. People would think something had gone wrong, but I'd be like, no, everything was okay. Bearing in mind, actually, I waited. This time around, I waited for the 3 months mark to actually tell anyone, especially with everything that I'd been through in the past. So, yeah. So pregnancy went smoothly. Baby was doing fine. Everything was fine. I had my baby girl in April 2015, and she is still beautiful, but she was like the most beautiful baby I'd ever laid my eyes on. She was just gorgeous. She was so peaceful. She didn't even cry much. She was just the best. It was one of the best days of my life. I was so happy. After everything I'd been through, it was almost like the biggest icing on the cake for me. I looked at her and everything was worth it. Every single thing was worth it. I was so happy. Why am I making this video? I'm making this video because when I was at my lowest, when I couldn't understand what was going on, when I felt like I was alone, I would go on YouTube and I would search for pregnancy losses so that I could watch other women who had gone through it or who were going through it. and I would listen to their stories. Sorry, guys. I would listen to them and I would watch their videos. And then it made me realize that I wasn't alone. It made me realize that it wasn't something that I had done. It wasn't my fault. This is just something that was normal. I guess because I'd never been through losing pregnancy loss or losses of pregnancy, because I'd never been through a loss. I didn't know that this was something that happens to 25% of pregnancies. I felt like I was alone. I watched the women and I thought, wow, this is normal. Well, not normal, you know what I mean. I'm not alone in this. I drew strength from them talking about their experiences. I drew strength from seeing how over the weeks I'll keep watching their videos, and I drew strength from knowing that it's gonna be okay. So I'm making this video because I know that unfortunately it's still happening, because it's just the way it is. I'm making this video so that a woman or women can watch this and know that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. While you're going through it, you will be down, you will be depressed, you will cry, and that's okay, because you need to cry. You need to let your emotions out. But things will get better. It will get better. Don't give up hope. Don't lose hope. Just keep. If it's what you really want, then keep trying. If it's not something that will hurt you, as in terms of it's life-threatening, then just keep going. Don't give up. If you have a dream of having a child, then just know that it's just a little bit of delay. It doesn't mean that you're going to be denied it. We all go through trials in life to make us stronger. Everything that I've been through in terms of that aspect of my life has made me a stronger person, has made me a stronger person. It's made me look at my children, especially my baby girl. I would insert a picture of her somewhere in this video. She's napping at the moment. Her name is Ifeoluwa, which in Nigerian culture, which is where I'm from originally, means God's love, because she really is proof that God loves me. Never doubted it anyway, but I look at her and I appreciate life. I appreciate God's love. So I just want to urge women today to just look at my story, look at my testimony, and know that I'm so sorry. All is not lost. Got tissue on my nose. God, my makeup's really a mess right now. Ooh, sorry, I had to get myself together. Yeah, I mean, to my ladies out there who might find themselves in this position, just like I said, keep praying, keep the faith, don't lose hope. If you want to cry, cry. It's absolutely fine to cry. It's okay to cry. Just cry, let it all out. And keep your family close. Keep, you need to draw them. You need to gain strength from them at this point. You need someone to lean on. So I would say, make sure you have close friends and family to lean on at this time, because you're going to need them. and, you know, read things that uplift you. Watch videos, if you want to, of other women that might have gone through the same thing, and I guess from there draw strength that everything will be okay. You know, listen to inspiring, uplifting songs. For me, I listen to, because I'm a Christian, so I listen to gospel songs that inspire, that, you know, tells you or gives the message that it's just a temporary thing. It's just for the time being. It's just something you're going through for now, that it will get better, that God has your back. He's got you. He won't let you down. So those are the things that I used to listen to gospel. I used to obviously pray and ask him for what I want, and you know, in the end everything worked out fine. So, you know, yeah. So I pray that this storm will pass and your testimony will be full. I also have a message for our relatives or our friends, people who, say for example, someone just got married and you're already asking them a year, whenever, just don't ask. You asking, oh, so when are you having kids? You're not having babies? You're not having children? Don't. You don't know what that person is going through. You don't know what their story is. So you asking them, you making them feel uncomfortable, especially if they're going through things. So please, I beg you, I urge you, please stop asking those kind of questions. So yeah, I just thought I'll put that out. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video now. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched, if you stayed with me up until now, I really do appreciate it. I understand that obviously this is a different kind of video, so it's not to everybody's taste, but I just thought that I would share my story, just to inspire anybody going through, you know, things. And thank you for watching this video. And if there's anyone going through something like this, a pregnancy loss, then share this video, that maybe it can help them in their healing process, to know that everything will be okay. You know, that the storm will pass and they will see that rainbow. That light is at the end of that tunnel. Yeah, thank you guys. And I will see you guys in a video very soon. Take care. Bye.